favorite tumor promoter in promoting tumor development. So the question is what obesity does in the liver to promote the development of tumors. So first we look at various protein kinases related to metabolism, and originally it was suggested that one way in which obesity can increase cancer risk is by elevating the production of insulin, and the reason that obese individuals make more insulin, including obese mice, is they're actually insulin resistant. So they actually don't respond to this increased insulin, and you can tell that they're insulin resistant because you get less AKT activation both in the normal liver tissue as well as in the tumors. So the original hypothesis that this extra insulin drives the activation of AKT, which is an oncogenic protein kinase that increases cell proliferation, does not seem to apply in the case of hepatocellular carcinoma. However, another protein kinase or another pathway that is clearly activated by obesity, both in the normal tissue as well as in the tumors, and even more so in the tumors, is the mTOR or TORC1 pathway. And I'll talk about this pathway later on. And you can see that TORC1 has been activated by seeing the increased phosphorylation of S6 kinase, a substrate for TORC1, and increased phosphorylation of ribosomal protein S6, which is the substrate for S6 kinase. And you find this both in the normal liver tissue and in the tumors in the obese mice. But we also look at activation of protein kinases related to inflammation and stress, and we found that, as we already knew, that obesity leads to activation of JUN kinase, which, unlike P38 and IKK beta, actually drives the development of hepatocellular carcinomas. You find increased JUN activation in the normal tissue, especially in the tumors of mice kept on high-fat diet. There's increased activation of ERK in tumors in mice on high-fat diet. And interestingly, activation of P38 is actually attenuated. And then we found that obesity leads to increased activation or increased phosphorylation of STAT3, which I already mentioned, both in the normal liver tissue and in the tumors of the obese mice. And the source of STAT3 activation is most likely the cytokine IL-6 all over again. Its production is greatly increased by obesity. You can now see increase of IL-6 in the circulation. If you look at the liver, there's a lot more IL-6 mRNA in the liver of mice kept on high-fat diet. And then the cytokine that actually stimulates the transcription of the IL-6 gene, TNF-alpha, is also elevated, but you don't see this in the circulation. You have to look specifically in the liver. And again, both the non-tumor tissue and the tumor tissue of mice kept on high-fat diet show higher amounts of TNF. So we ask, what's the contribution of TNF and IL-6 to tumor development? I'm not going to show the results from the IL-6 knockout, but the results from the TNF receptor are very, very clear. When we knock out the major, or we obtain mice that don't have the type 1 TNF receptor, tumor development in lean mice is not affected at all by ablation of TNF-R1, but the response to obesity is totally gone in the absence of TNF-R1, and also obesity-induced production of IL-6 is eliminated in the absence of the TNF receptor. However, TNF receptor deficient mice still get fat, so it's not a cure for obesity, but most interestingly, the distribution of fat within the animal is different. So these animals which are fat, interestingly, do not have much fat accumulation in the liver, and that's where the cancer happens and cancer development takes place. And this is shown for the IL-6 knockouts, but the same results are obtained in the TNF receptor knockout. So you can look at fat accumulation in the liver by staining it with oil red O, and you find that in the absence of IL-6 or TNF receptor, much less fat accumulates in the liver, although in subcutaneous deposits and other fat deposits, fat accumulation is the same. So why is fat in the liver so important? It's because this condition of hepatosteatosis, fatty liver, eventually results in fat-driven inflammation of the liver, or steatohepatitis, and you can see this by seeing increased accumulation of neutrophils in the fatty liver and increased accumulation of macrophages. And again, ablation of IL-6 or type 1 TNF receptor completely reduces this inflammatory response, and we think that that's a major factor that protects from the development of hepatocellular carcinoma. So just to summarize, there are many risk factors for the development of this disease, including HPV infection, HCV infection, consumption of alcohol, exposure to carbon tetrachloride, hemochromatosis, which is a chronic condition that leads to accumulation of reactive oxygen species in the liver. And if you ask what's common to all these totally different etiologic factors, is you find that all of them lead to chronic liver injury and oxidative stress in the liver. And with time, this chronic injury to the liver, which drives cells proliferation, increases the likelihood that initiated hepatocytes will proliferate, accumulate more mutations, and eventually give rise to hepatocellular carcinoma. Interestingly, in the last couple of years, a role for IL-6 in human hepatocellular carcinoma has been confirmed by retrospective studies. It seems to be a very good predictive factor for rapid progression from viral hepatitis to full-blown hepatocellular carcinoma. And we would like to suggest that drugs that either block the production of IL-6 or IL-1 signaling or even TNF signaling in the liver may reduce the risk of this disease, as well as antioxidants. With this, I'd like now to switch gears and talk about the TOR pathway and its possible role in liver metabolism, but actually in liver cancer, studies that are still ongoing, but in several other diseases as well, including aging and age-related diseases. So we actually started our venture into this by looking at p53, and p53, as you know, is one of the major stress sensors activated by genotoxic stress as well as oxidative stress and other types of genotoxic damage, and it's one of the most important, most frequently lost tumor suppressors in human cancer, and it's a major tumor suppressor also in hepatocellular carcinoma. The reason that we became interested in p53 in hepatocellular carcinoma is that it's been shown first by Arnie Levine's lab that p53 can also inhibit the activation of TORC1, which is actually elevated in the obese mice which develop more cancer. And the question is, how p53 leads to downregulation of TORC1 activity. So it's been known for quite some time that p53 activation can stimulate apoptosis, and if there's not enough, there's just a little bit of DNA damage and the cells can repair it, it actually leads to growth arrest and can also trigger senescence. But in the last few years, it was also shown that p53 can inhibit glycolysis, can inhibit protein synthesis, and can actually stimulate autophagy. And we think that these two activities are probably all accomplished through its effect on CORC1. So what is CORC1? CORC1 is the protein kinase complex assembled around the catalytic subunit mTOR. mTOR stands for mammalian target of rapamycin. So this is the protein kinase whose activity is inhibited by the immunosuppressive